Women these days just can't stop telling on themselves. Now, men gave us the internet, right? And do we women do anything productive with it? No, not really. Not at all, actually. All we're doing is exposing ourselves online. Women just love attention. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad as long as it's attention and validation.
So you're thinking about going through a divorce and you're wondering if it's the right thing to do. I'm sitting in a very long Starbucks drive-through line and I want to share a few things from my own experience of going through divorce. Just for context, I was married for 12 years. I was married to a pastor. We were in full-time ministry together. We have 2 boys from that marriage. And I left him in 2019, so about 5 years ago. And here are the things that I experienced that are very common when you go through a divorce. This is not answering the question of if you should go through a divorce, but these are definitely some things to consider if you're considering going through a divorce. Okay, number 1, it's going to be harder than you can even imagine. Like, I remember before I had a baby, people telling me, all the old grandmas in the church telling me how painful it was. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. And yeah, you do get through it. But when you're going through it for the first time, holy guacamole, it is way worse than even what they described to you. You literally think you're going to die.
So typically women like to pride themselves in saying they're good mothers, right? But in this case, so she has a husband and kids, and so she decides to just think about herself. It's all me, my feelings, my sorrows. There's nothing about what she's putting her husband through, her kids through, breaking up a family unit just so that she can be happy because she's feeling bored, because she has the freedom to do it. It's crazy when you hear about them talking about how hard it's for them. It's just for clout. She just wants people to feel sorry for her. Yeah, divorce is so hard, right, lady? It's so hard to leave all your responsibilities and go sleep around and just act like you're 20 years old again. Yeah, so hard. I was always taught that women are the caring and nurturing ones. That is just total BS. Complete BS.
And so that's divorce. That's divorce. It's going to be harder than you even imagine. They say like it feels like your heart is literally physically breaking. There is so much physical pain that comes with it, like just a forewarning. Okay, so that's the first thing. All right, second thing, your entire life will change because you have built a life with this other person and now that person is no longer there. And when I say change, just stop and think about all the things that you guys do together. Let's just talk holidays. What traditions have you established? Going to see Christmas lights? Do you do scavenger hunts with your kid? Do you go see his family, your family? Do you bake cookies? Like, what are those traditions that all of a sudden, when he's no longer or she's no longer there, you're going to be doing by yourself, or it's going to be too painful for you to do?
Again, she's talking about how hard it is for her. It's too hard for her to go and do these traditions. Well, it's a lot harder for her kids.
Also, think about your friends groups. What friends do you have that are married? You're no longer going to be able to relate to those married couples like you did before. I promise you this. Believe me when I say that people who say that they'll be there for you forever, it just changes the dynamic. And they might be there for you, but they're not going to understand, especially if they haven't gone through a divorce. My entire community changed. Entire community. I probably have 4 or 5 girlfriends that are lifers.
Okay, so those few girlfriends that did stick with her are probably going to be divorced in the next couple of years because divorce is just contagious. When one woman does it, they all follow suit. The ones that did decide to stop being around her were pretty smart.
Okay, there are a lot of different things, and I saved the best or the worst for last, and that is the kid. I could make a 25-minute video of all the things, but I'm going to end with this one on this. Okay, your children are going to suffer, and there's not going to be anything you can do about it.
Actually, lady, there was something you could have done, and that is to put your kids first, which is the thing that we women were supposed to do but aren't doing. And that's the thing with women. They just go, oh, my poor kids, poor me, poor family. Nothing I can do about it. Meanwhile, they're the ones initiating the divorce and breaking up their family. And then they turn off the recording and they go and sleep around. Yeah.
Basically, a few things that happened that were unexpected was number one, the people that I thought would be there through my divorce weren't. It was really interesting because those are the people that were like my closest friends, and they just did not have the capacity for whatever reason. Like they were my like ride or dies up leading up to the decision. But you need the most support post divorce.
All right. So we
And
already
it
know
was
that she was bored and unhappy, and that's why she initiated the divorce. And now she's saying that people should be supporting women post divorce because they were unhappy and bored. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? Um, Now, if women were actually abused, not this, he said no to me, or I wasn't able to control him abuse, okay, yeah, actual abuse, okay, yeah, she would need support. Or if she was widowed, okay, I get that. But this doesn't make sense. And the thing is, her friends, what she was probably trying to do was get her friends single with her, because divorced women have to make themselves right by getting other women around them divorced with her so that they can all be, single and miserable together. But it didn't work and they cut her out. And it was the right thing for these women to do because they protected their own sanity, first off, and their own family. A miserably divorced woman that divorced her husband because she was bored is one of the most dangerous things that a happy family can have around them.
and it was the people who like could see the dysfunction, could help me like wade through the dysfunction leading up, that were supportive. But then after I actually pulled the trigger, there's like a whole other set of things that come up, and for whatever reason they just, it's almost like when somebody this is the closest thing that I could think of, is like when somebody passes away, sometimes, like say there's two people in a situation that know somebody who passes away, both people are going to respond differently depending on their backgrounds, right? So one person might lean into the family and be like, what can I do to help? The other person might feel completely overwhelmed by grief and they might completely distance and back away. And that was the surprise to me. The people who were there up until the divorce, after, it was like too much for them and they like backed away. So my community really changed significantly.
Right. So her community did change, and it changed to TikTok women. That's the new friend group.
I have a tendency to be anxious, and my struggle is that when I'm stressed, I have a hard time self-soothing. So leaning on a community, leaning on friends to soothe. I'm a verbal processor, so to verbally process was something that I felt like I needed way more than prior. And it was really hard because the people that I relied on up until my decision to leave had that some of them had that adverse reaction. So my community was just smaller. And you don't want to tap out all of your friends. So I had to lean into self-help, therapy, books, podcasts to self-soothe more.
Yeah. So by soothing, what she's saying is she wanted her friends to justify her actions with her, but they disagreed, and she doesn't like that. Okay, so then they don't get it from their friends, so they gotta spend thousands of dollars on therapy, self-help books, anything but actual accountability. And the thing too is at one point I thought maybe they did feel some guilt, but the truth of the matter is most of these women will go through their whole life without any actual regret. They'll just keep trying to find ways to justify their actions and do anything but take any accountability.